Okay, that's regarding a meeting that we just finished up. I'll have to explain why, but it's for the next adventure. Kind of sort of another Camino, so to speak, but I'll explain more.
In a little cafe, just the other side of the border, he was sitting there giving me looks that made my mouth water. So I started walking her way. She belonged to Batman Jose, and I knew, yes,
And I realized there's so much that happened on the Camino that I still haven't even updated you on already. Because since I came back, it's been literally impossible to try to figure out how to encompass everything that happened in a 64-day walk covering 1,510 kilometers and put it into a short video. Like, for example, I never even told you I got hit by a car on day 3 of my Camino. Because think about it, if I update you and say, yeah, I got hit by a car, then you're gonna freak out and wanna know what the heck happened.
Beep, beep. Oh, geez, did I just hit that ostrich?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he's fine. Keep going.
So as I'm walking along, I'm actually in an off-ramp when all of a sudden I hear a bang, I'm rolling over the hood of a car, and I'm on the side of the ground. Now, the car comes to a stop, and another car behind that saw what happened stopped as well. They start to argue in French while I'm picking myself up off the ground. Long story short, the guy is blind as a bat. Here's a photo. But I'm okay. The guy that stopped, his name's Christoph. Here he is. He is in medical sales, and he is going to a town called L'Avignon to meet with one of his clients, who happens to be a doctor. He asked if he can take me to get checked out. I was gonna walk to L'Avignon anyway, so it worked out good. The point I'm trying to make is that this beautiful symphony of how it went together, that doctor in L'Avignon, he's an avid hiker and camper. He taught me about a canal system that goes through the south of France that I could hike along and camp. If I hadn't met him, I would have never found that route. If I didn't find that route, I would have never met my pilgrim angel who taught me everything I needed to know about the Camino. See how it all worked together? It's one of my favorite sculptures in all of Milan. It's the middle finger, and this is the stock exchange area, the financial district. Isn't that just perfect? The financial district. The only other place that would be more perfect is if you put it in front of a church, but I don't think that would fly. Anyway. So the reason I bring up the old Camino isn't to talk about that per se, it's just to kind of update you on what's been going on. And I know I owe you a whole Camino update, but the main takeaway that's important for this video is that that Camino taught me a couple things. It re-centered me again, how to get back present in the moment, how to see the beauty in everything, and how to follow my voice again. That internal voice, Dio, whatever you want to call it for you. For me, that's a voice that has guided me my whole life. It's the same voice that told me start at this beach and walk all the way to that beach. Why? I don't know.
Well, good luck with that. I'm gonna go now.
We're going to make a smoothie. We're gonna put an apple, pomegranate. I got a pineapple I gotta use. So one thing I want to touch on real quick, just to get it out of the way, because I know it's gonna be a logical question that you're gonna have, is what's been going on work related and stuff like that. Again, it's just how my life flows. At the urging of a friend, a past colleague from years back, who's in investment banking, something I used to do a long time ago, he and I were talking, and he really just kept kicking me in the butt to take something I was passionate about and something that he and I have done together in the past and turn it kind of into a business, if you will. I let him kind of run with it. And while I was on the Camino, he was tracking the results of this private fund, for lack of a better term. Well, long story short on that, I'm not going to get into that. That's not what this video is about. But it launched in July and has done really well. The reason I bring that up is because it's going to tie into everything I'm going to tell you here in a little bit, but the timing of it is just so perfect. It's allowed me the complete freedom that I needed to address something of a different nature that I'm going to get into. But I wanted to get that out of the way. You know, putting a little bit of ginger in a smoothie is the best thing you can do. Frozen bananas. I keep all my bananas frozen and my spinach frozen too. Adds the ice element to the smoothie, which is perfect. Funny thing about pomegranate, I must have created a crime scene in my kitchen probably 3 or 4 times before I figured out finally how to do a pomegranate properly. The key is I cut the top off, and if you look inside, it makes like a star. You follow those lines down, and then with a wooden spoon, you just bang it all inside your blender. Works perfect. And some of you know, even my past client Heinz, the one that originally brought me out here to Milan to work on Porta Nuova, they have the largest project in the world right now going on in Dublin, Ireland. They were waiting for me to get off the Camino to come up and start consulting on it. We talked, and inside I just wasn't feeling about it. So it was something I was meditating and praying about. And funny enough, in August, they ran into a bunch of delays, which was perfect timing for me because I wasn't feeling it. So they said, hey, listen, are you okay postponing this for about 6 to 8 months? 6 to 8 months is going to be something that's pretty important coming up here in a second, but you're going to see why. So of course I said yes. Oh, great song, Erasure. Leek. It's like an onion. It's great in a smoothie. Flaxseed and chia seed. They're awesome in smoothies. See how it tastes. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I make enough for tomorrow as well, so I freeze one, drink one.
Let the drama kick die. Let the drama kick, let the drama kick die. Let the drama kick, let the drama kick die. Let the drama kick, let the drama kick die. Let the drama kick, let the drama kick die. Let the drama kick, let the drama kick die. Let the drama kick, let the drama kick die. Let the drama kick.
So, putting the whole work thing aside, there was also something pretty incredible that I was dealing with on a personal level. But you may have noticed that I stayed pretty distant over the last few months. I was never really big on social media anyway, but even Instagram, I had shut that off. This was something I needed to kind of address internally first, work through some things and understand what was really happening before then I can tell you more about it. But you remember that meeting at the very beginning of this video, the one with the high fives? I'm gonna take you back out there right now. Okay, so what this is all about, this is the EAO. It's Institute for Europe, Head of Oncology. I have cancer.
What you talking about, Willis?
I have the whiteboard right behind here, so let me take that down. And then let me go get the pin. Haha, cute, Mike. Cute. That's funny. The type of cancer that I have is called lymphoma. It's pretty common. You've probably heard of it. Under lymphoma, you have 2 general types. You have Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's. So, different names. Now, underneath these, there's like 90 different types of lymphoma, 45 and 45 or whatever underneath. And the strains go all the way from like super aggressive all the way down to like less aggressive, super aggressive down to less aggressive. What I have is the most aggressive. I have the most aggressive non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Ci vediamo.
Okay. And I'm stage 2B, almost stage 3. And being the most aggressive may sound like a bad thing, but it's actually a blessing in disguise because that means it's not dormant. We can find it and we can treat it. I call this my chemo green, new fall fashion.
See? Nothing's fucked here, dude. Nothing is fucked. Nothing is fucked, dude. Come on. You're being very undude.
Okay, I know you probably got a lot of questions, and I'm going to try and cover them all. But before I jump into this, I want to just say one thing. Please understand, I am completely fine. This isn't a facade. This isn't a, just to put you at ease kind of a thing. I truly feel great. I am mentally, emotionally, physically, I have the cancer, but other than that, physically, I am good. Spiritually, good. I could not ask for anything more. I am very, very happy, very blessed, and I am seeing the beauty in this every day. Let me just start how this all came about. About 4 or 5 days into my walk in the beginning of April, I noticed a small lump right at the hairline on the back of my neck, and I kept an eye on it for a few days. You got to understand, I was carrying about 50 pounds in my bag, about 25, 26 kilos, because in the beginning of April in the south of France, it was all holiday for Easter for 2 weeks. So I had to carry a lot of water and I had to carry a lot of food. Plus I was climbing in the Pyrenees, and at night I would wake up with snow on my tent. So I had extra clothing for the weather. The first time I made note of it in my Camino journal was on day 13 of my walk, and then on day 18 I actually wrote down that I was praying about it to find out what it was, because it was actually getting bigger, but it was right on my muscle tendon. I was looking online. I know my body. I journal incessantly about things I'm doing, like with workouts and different things, like how much water I drink in a day, what I eat, caloric intake, my weights, all these things. So I really keep a good eye on everything. I had no other symptoms, and even till this day, with my doctors and stuff like that, I don't have the full-blown symptoms of somebody who's going through lymphoma, which is a good thing, and I'll get into that. But typically, you have night sweats, you have dramatic weight loss, you have fever. I had none of those, still haven't. I had the lump, but it was on my neck, and we thought it was muscular. When I say we, I went into a pharmacy in the south of France to have a look at it and see if I can get maybe like an anti-inflammatory. I had no pain. And in the south of France, some of the pharmacies have doctors on site. And so I met with a doctor there. They felt it. They asked immediately, fever? No. Weight loss? No. Night sweats? No. I knew what they were thinking. So they ruled that out. They felt my bag. I remember doing shoulder shrugs because my shoulders were getting tired of carrying this bag, and I thought I'd just strain the muscle. If you tear the muscle, then it will swell up just like that. So we thought it was muscular. Fast forward, as I crossed the Pyrenees, when I was going over the Pyrenees into Spain at its highest point, that's when it got big. It was about the size of my fist. It blew up one night. I thought maybe that had to do with the air pressure, being at altitude again. When I came over, I got rid of a lot of the weight because I didn't need the winter tent. I didn't need the jacket, stuff like that when I came into Spain. I didn't need to carry that much water anymore because you had potable water throughout Spain, whereas France you didn't. And it started to decrease. Go to the end of the trip, losing more weight in the bag, it continues to decrease. When I get back to Milan after the walk, it continued to decrease. It wasn't until July when I started working out in the gym again that it started to flare up, but I thought it was because I'm engaging my shoulders and my chest and my back, and the neck is flexing. And then I noticed it was happening on the left side too, and I'm thinking, okay, this for sure is muscular. So I'm waiting to have an appointment with my PT guy who worked on my shoulder and everything else. He takes a look at it and he says, hey, listen, I think we should go have it looked at just to make sure it's not something more severe. When I go and see a doctor end of July, right around my birthday, and again, nobody knew this. Nobody here knew this. I wasn't concerning anybody about it. I mean, I had friends that knew about a bump on my neck, and I had talked about it and said, yeah, I'm like Hunchback of Notre Dame or something like that, but it wasn't anything too crazy. The first check we go and do is a blood test because the doctor thinks, okay, maybe it's muscular or maybe it's something bacterial. Cancer is way down the list of possibility. The exam the results took a while to come back, and then it was inconclusive. So for me, it kind of went like this in my head: bacterial blood disease, cancer. And as results came in, it went more and more like this. And it wasn't until there was one last exam we were waiting on, and the hope of it being bacterial, that result came in, and they said, for sure, you have lymphoma cancer. I literally remember walking outside to my bike, and as I'm unlocking the bike, my egoic self, my mind inside, wants to say, why me? Why now? Like literally for a second. It didn't even last long. And then I hear, hey. Literally, I hear the voice, the same voice I've heard my whole life, the same voice that told me to start Worldwide Water and do Project in Africa, the same voice that took me from that beach to that beach that I already talked about. And he says, do you remember that walk? Yeah. Do you trust me? Yes. Then this is just another walk. And if there is such a thing as a spiritual high five, we had it right there.
To that I say, all right, all right, all right. And then I say, just keep living, huh?
And I just said, okay, what is my role in all this? And it's just to enjoy it, to see the beauty in it every day and enjoy the walk. Essentially, the lymph node system was under attack. And we started to do more blood tests, biopsies. They ordered PET and TAC exams and stuff like that. The ultrasounds were funny because I can show you pages and pages and pages.
A lot of lumps. A whole lot of lumps.
And please note, timeout. Side note, please don't text me things about we're gonna fight this or you're gonna fight this. Or anything that has to do with fighting, that's not me. I'm not confrontational on this. I appreciate those people that need to have that mentality when they want to do that, but for me, that's not how I'm approaching this. For me, I'm approaching this as I'm loving it. I'm loving what it is. Ground Zero is here. Funny enough, I named him Russell Crowe. My doctors think this is absolutely hilarious. Here's why. Because we thought it started on the muscle, Russell. And cancer in Italian is cancro, cane crow. So it's Russell Crowe. This whole thing is Russell Crowe. My boy Steve Smith playing in the background. Love you, Steve. Even before, when I was going on my Camino, even before the Camino, I've started reading books about Stoicism and being a Stoic and just understanding that there are so many things out of your control, but what you can't control is your reaction to them. And the way you walk through something is what's important. Every scenario I was happy with, because I know that I will be mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally better after this, because everything that's happened in my life has proven me one thing. It's always for his use and my growth. And I love that. I love that. I could have gone back to the US, I could go different places to have this done, but do the research yourself. Anywhere in the world, EAO is like the leader. And that, like, if I'm gonna have cancer anywhere in the world, I'm in the right place to do it. How beautiful is that? National healthcare and everything else, after the initial cost and the exams that I had to pay for, everything is zero. You can't say that in the US. You may have noticed that I've been shooting most of the video from this side. I had a lymph node biopsy when I was, but it's healing pretty nice. He did a really good job. The doctor said I heal pretty quick. So I've been in the hospital a few times. I've had to go to the ER when I couldn't breathe. I have a journal, and I'm going to put it on a blog so then you can see about every day. I'm not going to get into the details of things that have happened because I don't want this to become that type of thing. But then you can read about it and follow along on there. Yeah, tumors. Number of tumors. I got a lot of tumors.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all.
So I have lymph nodes pushing my jaw. There's times I can't even open to put a banana in my mouth. That's why I do a lot of smoothies. So they're moving all the way around. The beard hides everything, but there are massive lymph nodes right now. So every 3 to 4 days, new ones will pop up. Underneath my arm here is about the size of a racquetball. Underneath here is a little bit bigger than a golf ball. Behind my lungs in the humerus gland, there's a whole bunch of tumors around there as well that showed up on the PTE, the PET scan, and the TAC. I apologize. There really is no right way. I wrote things out of how I would explain this all to you, but I guess it's just kind of going out of my mind. Number of needles, I think my needle count is like somewhere above 70. I have a small arsenal of steroids and drugs that I have to take at now just to keep things at bay. I have to sleep in an upright position because we had one night where the tumors moved and new ones formed, and they were trying to literally put a noose around my neck. Russell Crowe is going to hang me. It's going to require a really aggressive chemotherapy to go after it. But after the first two, we should start to see results. So it's chemotherapy, and then you wait 22 days, and then chemotherapy again. I probably will lose my hair, hence why I'm doing these videos now. And look, if I am going to lose my hair, winter is the best time to lose your hair. If you had 4 seasons, you had to pick one to lose your hair, I gotta say it's winter. You don't want to burn in the summer, and you wear hats in the winter, man. That's what I'm talking about. I'm curious to see if the beard's gonna make it. If this beard makes it through the chemo, I'm making a fucking t-shirt about it. I gotta make a t-shirt. Something like not even cancer could kill this Viking beard. And those of you who don't like the beard, if it makes it through this, tough shit. It's never going away. I've met some really good doctors. I got a really great oncologist. She's awesome. You'll see her pictures. Here she is right here. This is my general doctor here. And I feel in my gut that she's just got my best interest at heart. She has gone well above and beyond to make sure that I'm getting the best care. EAO is going to start working with the doctors that I'm with now after the first round of chemo into the second round of chemo, and then they're going to take over on the end down with new clinical study stuff they're doing with stem cells and everything else. So that's why we were high-fiving after that meeting, because I am so blessed to get in there. Their prognosis is a 6 to 8 month course of treatment. And, you know, one of the cool things for me, I met a lot of people while I was walking in France and people in Spain that were on the Camino that were coming after cancer or after the loss of a loved one or after a divorce, or for whatever reason they were walking because of something significant. How cool is it that my captain, the voice I follow, walked me before to prepare me for something that I was going to go through? I think that is just the coolest fucking thing, man. I just get jonesed when I think about it. Anyway, good thing. I have a good core group of friends around me that if I need anything, they're here. If you want to just put your questions together and send them back to me, I'll do a whole nother video with everybody's questions. I'll just read them and go through them. And then that way you can all hear what, you know, maybe somebody was asking or interested in, and I'll try to cover those. And then, like I said, I'll have the blog so you can go back and read. I just want to wrap this up by telling you that if you're watching this video, it's because you're important to me. You're significant in my life. I love you, and I wanted to share this with you, but I had to do it when I knew all the information. I wanted to walk through it and know exactly what is happening before I dive into it, to just fully understand and prepare myself for it too and everything else. But please just know that I'm good. This is a good thing. If there's any takeaway from this, I'd like you to take away and go, look, man, I always like having the Superman, and you know, I love that whole Superman motif and that kind of thing. And this is no different. How I walk through this is going to be super. It's that simple, because I trust, and I'm just following the plan, man. That's it. All right, all right, all right.